Story time. So years ago, I was interviewing for a job, and as many of you know, when you go through the interview process, you start with the recruiter, then you meet with like the manager, then you meet with some of your peers if you're lucky, and then maybe at the very end you meet with like the highest ranking executive. So in this case, it was the CEO, and it was funny because they took me through all of the interviews like one after another at this company. So clearly, I knew that I was doing okay because I was getting through all these interviews, but they all of a sudden say, "We want you to meet the CEO." So I go into the CEO's office. I don't know what to expect. It's a startup company. And he's sitting there. He's in a t-shirt, sweatpants, joggers, and he's eating cereal, and he's got his feet up on his desk. He's sitting in his chair, and he's like, "Yeah, come sit down," right? And he proceeds to interview me while he eats cereal with his feet up on the desk. I'm not making this up. So there I am in my suit, answering all my questions, And finally he finishes like, "Okay." He goes, "So do you have any questions for me?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "What keeps you up at night?" And he stops eating his cereal and he looks at me and goes, "I'm sorry, what?" And I go, "When it comes to this business, what is keeping you up at night about its success, and how will the job that you're considering me for, how will the job that I do impact the ability to solve for that?" And he put his cereal down and his face went blank. And my heart started to pound. He takes his feet off the desk, and all of a sudden he turns and he leans in and he looks at me and he says, "Let me think about that." And we're just staring at each other. I'm not kidding. And now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just blew it. Literally got to the final round and I just blew it. And he gets really serious and he starts to tell me. He starts to explain how this job impacts that ability. And he just gets into it. And he leans in and gets into it. He starts telling me, I'm like, "Okay, great, thanks." And the interview ends, right? And I go home and I think, what did I just do? I got myself a job. He told them that I should be hired because anyone that understood that their job impacts all the way up and that they should be thinking about that impact understood the value of the work that they needed to do and would do a good job. That's what he told the hiring manager, and the hiring manager told me. So, that gamble paid off, but it taught me. I was in my, late 20s when I did this. It taught me how important asking the right questions in the interview are, but also asking the right questions to the right people. So if that made sense to you and you would like help with interview prep, please know that you can always come over to the little company nobody's ever heard of before called Work It Daily. We have a super cool interview prep platform. I have a course that teaches you everything you need to know before, during, and after the interview. And part of it is teaching you what questions to ask as well. So just wanted to share that story and tell you, think carefully about what questions you ask and who you ask them to, because the right questions can land you the job. Good luck, my friends. Go get them.